and thanks for joining us for this week's Facebook Live. I'm Caitlin McDermott, and today we are joined by Jennifer Molinari and Crystal Brown. Jennifer is the director for FEMA's Direct Housing Program administered by GLO, and Crystal is FEMA's Direct Housing Task Force lead. Our conversation today will be focused around the Direct Assistance for Limited Home Repair Program, also known as DAHLR. And so throughout the program, we will be explaining that as DAHLR. You'll hear it as DAHLR. Okay. Ladies, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Great to see you both. So before we jump in, let's give our viewers a better understanding of what you each do for the DAHLR program and what your agency has a role in regarding that as well. So Jennifer, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Jennifer Molinari, and I do work for the Texas General Land Office. We are administering on behalf of FEMA direct housing programs. The one that I am focused on is the DAHLR program, as we've just mentioned. You might also hear that referred to as the Permanent Housing Construction Program, or PHC. So if you hear PHC or DAHLR, we're talking about the same program.
Crystal, what about you?
And I'm Crystal Brown. I am the FEMA Direct Housing Task Force lead. And FEMA's role in the DAHLR program is to determine eligibility for survivors to participate in the program.
Great to know. So survivors may be feeling overwhelmed and searching for assistance during this recovery regarding housing. So easy understand terms usually help me. I'm sure they help you and probably everybody watching. So Crystal, what is a simple explanation of the DAHLR program?
The DAHLR program provides repairs to homes with moderate damage so applicants who lack available resources can live in their homes again.
Okay, and Jennifer, do you know how applicants might be able to start that process?
And so the way that this works is that people will register with FEMA. FEMA will review their cases and the information given to them by the applicants, and then start to kind of make some decisions or determinations on their eligibility based on their statuses. So under the DAHLR program, we're looking for homeowners who had FEMA verified loss of over $17,000 to their home as some of the initial eligibility components. And I think that's about the basic way that you start in the program. You can always call FEMA's hotline to see where you are. And we also would like to take a moment to let you know the General Land Office does have a hotline where you can also call and find out where you might be in real time, and that number is going to be 1-888-598-0877, and we'll be repeating that throughout the call today so that you can have that number.
Yes, we will, and at the end of the program we'll be sure to list all of the phone numbers that have been mentioned today and what they will lead you to. Okay, great. So the Direct Housing Program has various, Direct Housing Mission has various programs. I think there's about 4. So Jennifer, what makes the DAHLR program unique in its design compared to the, the other 3 within GLO's program?
Yes, so the direct housing programs that you're mentioning include things like the direct lease program that you might have heard about. There's a multifamily repair component. There's the manufactured housing component that people are very familiar with, and the DAHLR program. And the DAHLR program is really focused on making permanent repairs to your home, and that does make it unique from the other programs. So it is designed so that you can move back into your home after we make these repairs, and maybe continue working on your home to make other repairs beyond what the program can do. The program will, though, make sure that your house is decent, safe, sanitary, and habitable when repairs are complete.
So very important for survivors to know that are watching. And is this a new program?
So it is a new program for the state of Texas. Okay. It has been run in other places on a very limited basis. This is the first time we have taken this on, though, as a state.
Well, okay, Texas, here we go. Eligibility is an important component to many of the programs that are offered. So Crystal, since FEMA determines the eligibility, what do survivors need to know about the eligibility requirements?
To be eligible for the program, you have to
be a pre-disaster homeowner, I think, is one of them, right?
Homeowner.
have a verified loss of, I think it's 17,000 or more.
Right, but to be sure that you're not duplicating any benefits.
Right, that's
you need
huge.
to make sure that you are saving all of your receipts.
Yes.
And making sure that you can account for any funds that you've used to make home repairs. And also, you need to return any unused portion of the FEMA funds that you've received.
And it does need to be your primary residence is something for you to consider as well. So the house that we'll be repairing has to be your primary residence before the storm occurred. And of course, we'll have an expectation that that is going to be or become your primary residence again after repairs are made.
Okay, so it sounds like FEMA's issuing the inspection. FEMA must declare the loss of $17,000 or more. There is a $60,000 cap on repairs, and I believe there's a rule about the repair cost must be less than 50% of the replacement value of the home.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
Okay, great. So now there are a few stipulations regarding the repair cost allowances, so things that people have to keep in mind when considering what can really be done to the house. So Jennifer, you know, if a house with a replacement value of $200,000 requires repairs that may exceed $60,000, you know, is the applicant automatically ineligible, or can they still receive the work, you know, for up to $60,000?
Okay, so first and foremost, I do want to make sure everyone understands the Texas General Land Office is fully committed to assisting as many homeowners as we possibly can through these programs. And so what we do is, regardless of that cost of your house, in your example it was about $200,000, we're actually looking at it more from the perspective of, is $60,000, which is the cap for the program, is that going to be enough for you to move back into that house? Well, now we might not be able to do all of the finishes. There might be some taping and floating that might need to be done after we leave, or other items like that. But can we go into that house and make sure that you have a kitchen area again, that you have living space and a bathroom, and then bedrooms for the occupants that are going to be reoccupying the house? So that's really our primary concern.
Okay, good to know. So clarifying the terms of the repairs. So are the repairs under the DAHLR program, and either of you can answer this, you know, are the repairs under the DAHLR program, is it considered like a temporary fix, or is this something that folks can assume they can actually build on top of for permanent housing, that they don't have to go back and redo later?
Right. As Jennifer mentioned before, the direct home repairs are limited to real property components, such as heating, plumbing, ventilation, and air conditioning, walls, floors, and ceilings. So the work can definitely be a foundation for more permanent repairs.
That's great to know. Definitely great to know. Quality work. You know, some homeowners are actually more comfortable using a contractor that they may know. So, you know, Jennifer, how does the DAHLR program handle the hiring of contractors?
So the Texas General Land Office has contracted with 34 builders under our program, and we do that through a qualification process. We make sure that our builders are qualified to work in Texas, that they have experience working on these sorts of programs, and then when we assign them out to do some of this repair work, that we're assigning a quality builder under our program. And so the work is done by one of our contractors. What's important for our folks to know, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more, is we're looking to make sure when they do the repairs that it is quality work, that they are bonded, can work in Texas, and that sort of a thing.
Okay. And, you know, there might be a couple people watching where, you know, they like to make sure that they're hands-on and present in some of the decisions that are being made by the builders. So are they allowed to kind of be present and have conversations about what's happening?
Yes, they absolutely are. We will call. We mentioned the FEMA inspection. There's a secondary inspection that the Texas General Land Office does to figure out the specific items that need to be repaired in that home, and the homeowner is front and center in all of those processes, so that they know what it is that we're looking at repairing and what it's looking like we will not be able to repair in that home, and all the way through the process from agreeing to move forward in the program to signing off on the work that's been done. We definitely want our homeowners to be involved in their own recovery.
Absolutely. Very a part of the solution, it sounds like. You know, duplication of benefits may be a term that people are hearing or reading about and maybe not understanding. You know, we understand here within our four walls what that means. But so Crystal, eligibility rules for DAHLR state duplication of benefits is prohibited. Now, how does a survivor know if they are receiving duplicated benefits, you know, and how can they avoid that?
So as I mentioned before, it's good for them to keep all of their receipts and make sure they can account for all the money that they've spent on repairs. And also, any unused funds will have to be returned to FEMA. And of course, they can opt not to participate in the DAHLR program and keep any financial assistance that they've received.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and to kind of build off on that, once we do an inspection and if a household wants to move forward in the program, they're going to receive a homeowner agreement to participate packet. Inside of that, it's going to let them know what their FEMA repair funds were. It will not include other needs assistance. It's only looking at the amount that was received for repairs, and we're looking at that too. And there is the FEMA's hotline number in that packet, and that number that they can also call to figure that out is 1-800-621-3362 to talk to a FEMA representative about their possible duplication of benefits. And really all that means is we cannot pay for the same thing from two different funding sources. That's really all duplication of benefits means.
That's great to know. So making sure that you're staying on top of what money you're spending, keeping your receipts,
Right.
just like you do for tax season, which is, you know, coming up. We're going to have to deal with that soon. Just
That's
keep track of your stuff. Jennifer, can we touch back on, I know a lot of folks are really worried about fraudulent contractors coming in and just being around them. So how is GLO, again, making sure that this won't be an issue, and what can people make sure that they are doing to stay proactive in that?
Sure, and we have had a couple of survivors calling FEMA's hotline concerned that the DAHLR program or some of our other programs might be fraudulent. So of course we want to kind of speak to that. Homeowners can always ask to see badging. We always have our inspectors badged. And our builders as well. They can call our hotline number. We'll give it out at the end, 888-958-0877, to also touch base with one of us to make sure that whoever is calling them is legitimately working underneath our program.
Great. Well, it sounds like both FEMA and the General Land Office are doing a great job providing these applicants, these survivors, with all of the resources they need, whether it's keeping track of the funds that have been dispersed to them through the DAHLR program, or making sure that these contractors that are going to be doing the work are doing it well, and that the survivors and the homeowners can stay in contact and be hands-on. Well, I want to say thank you to you both. Jennifer, it was really nice to meet you, and Crystal, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you to everybody that tuned in for today's Facebook Live. I'm Caitlin McDermott. Make sure you come back every Wednesday as we plan on providing all of the information we find to be relevant during this Hurricane Harvey recovery. Have a great week.
And one more thing, again, I just want to say it one more time. The GLO's hotline number, staffed 24/7, is 888-958-0877. And you can also visit texasrebuilds.com for a little bit more information on our different direct housing options and programs.
Anything else, Crystal?
I would just like to add, if you have any questions about duplication of benefits or about the DAHLR program, just be sure to call FEMA's helpline, which is 1-800-621-3362. Or you can visit any of our DRCs in your local area.
Okay, great. So again, we will be sure to post all of those phone numbers and websites. I know that we shared a lot of them with you today. And again, come back every Wednesday because we'll be right here for Facebook Live for FEMA Harvey. Thank you.